Brandon and Heather, obviously, you guys started this company in 2011 in February. How did it become? How did it come to be? What was your inspiration?
Heather and I had met each other at the end of 2010, and she had done T-shirts for a band that I was in at the time, and we met that way. And I just kind of brought up an idea to her, and she was just like, "This sounds awesome, cool," you know. And that was the start of Death Maidens. She came back with like 4 sketches and 10 ideas, and that's kind of how we got going. And the idea was, let's take you know, like that pinup style, sure, and meet it with like the horror movie genre style. You know, like let's try to do something with that. That was the original idea, and then kind of branch out from there. But as soon as I said let's do that, we kind of came together, and all of a sudden that's just how it started.
Yeah, part of your mission statement on your Facebook page is you force the viewer to see the beauty in horror. So with that being said, anyone feel free to blurt out some awesome names here. Who are some of your favorite women in horror? Either old school movies or inspirations to you as models or artists?
I don't know, there's a lot of scream queens that are pretty awesome, but my inspirations, ironically enough, tend not to be women, which I know is not probably the answer you want to hear.
Oh, sure.
But like Greg Nicotero is my favorite person on the planet, and he just takes everything that you can think of doing and simplifies it so that it's real. And some people do makeup and they go way over the top, and some just don't go far enough, and I feel like he's perfect in striking that balance. And he does have this ability to make women just look gorgeous too, and it's a balance that you don't normally see in one makeup artist, and obviously that's why we need it too.
Well, it's interesting to mention Nicotero, because obviously with his work with Ramiro and everything, even women like Lori Cardille and everything, they were never meant to be beautiful women necessarily in the film, but yet when you talk to horror fans and everything, these are some women that, you know, are the goddesses.
You magnetically can't take your eyes off of them, and it's just because there's more than just like conventional beauty. It's just a magnetism that is accentuated by the makeup and by the storyline, obviously. Yeah. And these characters that are like such strong female characters, like in High Tension. I can't remember her name. What's her name in High Tension?
Well, thanks for putting me on the spot. Yeah, but I know.
But she's a perfect example, because like if you saw that girl on the street, you'd be like, yeah. But in that movie, she's commanding because she's such a strong character, and you just want to be her.
Yeah.
That's all of our Maidens. They're my favorite.
So for any of you ladies, have you all been horror fans kind of since birth, or was it something that you kind of was force-fed?
Was bred in.
Yeah.
I actually don't like horror movies too much. I'm more into I have a deep love for fake blood. Like, I ask Heather to make me fake blood every time.
It's true, which is why it kind of shocked me when you said that just now.
I don't know why, but I'm more into like campy horror movies than like anything that would actually be considered a horror movie. And I met Heather doing another photo shoot actually, and I was a zombie in that, and she was just like, "Oh, well, you're not allergic to liquid latex and you're willing to eat fake blood. Do you want to come do this?" And I was like, "Sure, sounds right up my alley." And yeah, I don't actually really like horror movies that much. I'd rather watch so many other things, but I actually
You do realize I'm gonna force you to watch horror movies now.
Oh, I don't. I'm hooking with you now.
Until you're like, yes.
I watch horror movies and I'm like, oh my god, I love like the special effects and I love the makeup and that. And I do like appreciate them for what they are, but like I don't like the horror movie storylines too much. I don't know.
Oh, I need to say something very important. I went to art school and I had to take film class, which I did not argue with at all because I love it. But my film teacher, if you've ever had a film teacher, they tend to have their ideas about films, and that's how it is. They're very specific. My teacher told me that horror is not a valid form of film. It's not a valid genre. He's like, it does not contribute to the society in any way. and to which I wrote several papers. Saying, you tell me what movie. I can think of maybe 2 movies that are drama movies that really, really hit you to the core, where you like start bawling in the movie, and it's universal. Like everyone in there is bawling. There's only a handful of those, right? There's always somebody that's like, what are you crying about? Right? Horror movies, you get into a movie theater with 300 people, and they start screaming. Everyone's screaming. Everyone. That is a universal emotional reaction that you cannot help. And I don't know how you could ever say that that's not a valid genre when it hits everyone to the core like that. That's
So, in total, how many Death Maidens are there as far as how many you work
Oh
with?
God, what kind of question? I have no idea.
It's got to be somewhere in the mid-20s right now.
I looked at my list, and there's 26 girls right now waiting for shoots. So we're going to double those numbers in less than a year.
Awesome. Very nice. So then, as the photographers, what kind of obstacles do you face during a photo shoot? What do you really sweat? What do you really freak out about the night before, or even while you're shooting?
There's a couple different factors that you think about. You think about the lighting angles, and I think we all have our own ideas, and so it's kind of like when I walk into the set, I'm thinking like, I don't know, there's gonna be like maybe that 5-10 minute warm up period, in which anything could happen, but I think with all of us, just kind of roll with it, and I'm kind of one of those people too that and the girls know this is like when I'm telling them to do something, I have to go do it myself. Sometimes I don't exactly know what I want, but they end up giving it to me, so it's absolutely awesome.
The first year was figuring out what works best with the skin, or in terms of the latex.
Learning curve.
A lot of it is the fact that we're finally in a group now where we understand how to collaborate with one another, being able to collaborate with both the model and each other. Vanessa, Kaitlyn, Heather, before we do a shoot, we've got a couple poses that we have in mind. We want to get everybody on the same page, and at first to get that to work was those are hiccups that we were running into where we weren't on the same page. But now we're kind of into.
What are some of the photo shoots that really stick out in your mind as far as the most fun or the most, the best stories to tell from them?
Sitting there being airbrushed and having her like right up right just airbrush blue and like everything else. It was just like, it was fun, it was different, it was exciting. It was like, it's not your usual type of photo shoot, and it was like the first one I ever done, so just being more aware of like your body and everything, I don't know, it was fun. And now the same day they did mine, they did hers. And it was really cool to see, like, she was being burnt and I was being frozen. So having like those two weird, like you have like all this orange and then you have all this blue, and it was just like, it was just a great experience, and it was really fun to see how it turned out.
First time models as well as experienced models, and it's kind of interesting to see the mix and how we're learning along with them. And I think Kaitlyn is extremely good with first time models. She's really good at demonstrating what she wants to see so that they understand. And I think the girls that are more experienced probably appreciate that too, like very specific direction, and then also we let them do what they want to do because they know what they're doing sometimes. So, I mean, it's a good mix of that, and it always leads us to photo shoots where we're like, we want to release one photo. Which photo? Because they're all awesome. So, that's a good problem to have.
Definitely. So on that note, kind of just go around and what got you to, join the Death Maidens, or what kind of opened your eyes to what they were doing?
Well, I've been modeling for probably over 5 years, and I first heard about it through JB. She was talking about one of her friends was starting a horror girls photo thing, and it was very new, and she was like, you want to jump on board? And I was, yeah, sure. And it was, my first photo shoot was with a corset and chainsaw, which was fun.
I've also been modeling for over 5 years, and I knew the girl that they were doing like test prosthetics on, and they were starting to look for models and everything, and so she called me and was like, do you want to do this? I'm like, yeah. So I called Koopa, and he's like, we want to paint you green and make you look like a zombie, pour blood on you, and I'm like, I'm totally down. So that was my like first experience with that. But I was just completely airbrushed green, reshot at like 11 o'clock at night. we were all working, and by the time that they got me completely airbrushed after like 2 hours, and then it was just like, all right, let's shoot. It's like, all right, I'm awake, let's do this. But that's kind of how I turned on to that.
What about Corinna? Vanessa. I've done modeling before, but it's been it was for a makeup line, very girly, very, you know, like very girly. So when she told me about this, it's like, oh, it's bloody, it's like deadly. I'm just like, okay. And I was really excited about it. I'm like, you get to have your face burned. I'm like, okay, that's awesome. So then they told me about the lingerie. I'm like, oh. But it was very different, and I don't know, I thought it was pretty cool. So that was the first one I did.
I first saw the Death Maidens at Nightmare on Chicago Street last year, and it was really cool because it had their photo booth and everything. I did my own little bit of makeup, and I don't know if they remember or not because there was like so many people there, but that's where I first saw them. And about a few months ago, Heather contacted me through Facebook, and she found me, and we were talking about some ideas and everything, so it was a lot of fun. And just a few weeks ago, she's like, oh, I have this last minute shoot if you wouldn't mind helping me out, and I was more than happy to.
I first heard about Death Maidens, like I said, from Heather, because I go to art school, and one of my friends from art school was like, hey, I'm doing this whole like zombie themed photo shoot, do you want to be one of my zombies? And I was like, yeah, sure. And she's like, my friend does some special effects makeup, so she's gonna do your zombie makeup, we're gonna do it in her apartment. And I was like, oh, okay, whatever. And I met Heather, and she's like putting so much liquid latex on my face, and we're like dotting it all with fake blood, and I end up like eating the liquid latex and fake blood in the process of this shoot. And Heather's like, you know, it's not really edible. And I'm like, whatever. And Heather's like, hey, you don't mind fake blood at all? You want to come do this thing for me? And I was like, yeah, sure. So a couple months later, Heather's like, okay, so you're gonna come in for the shoot. It's really awesome. And actually, Jonathon's brother Nick is in the photo with me, and like I walked into the studio and they're like, Shannon, this is Nick, Nick, this is Shannon. Alright, Shannon, you're gonna be killing him with this axe. And
Get on top of it.
Well, yeah, basically. And then we're gonna put you on this tiny, tiny table that he's already laying on. You have to straddle him, and we're giving you an axe that you have to hold to his neck. Don't slip in the fake blood and cut his neck off. Like, awesome! But the photos turned out really great, and I became really close with Nick really fast because you kind of have to when you're holding an axe to someone's throat.
I've never really modeled before, and it just came out of random. Like, I was on Facebook one day, and like Heather added me in. I was like, okay, I don't know her. So I was like, who are you? She's like, well, I have this modeling agency, and I was wondering if you were interested. You look like the kind of girl that we would like take photos of. And I was like, yeah, I'm totally interested. And then she had the haunted house shoot, and she was like, can you make it out? And surprisingly, I actually made it out. And it was really fun, my first photo shoot ever, so I had like no idea what I was doing, but I really liked it, and I got a lot of positive feedback from like the girls that were there, the photographer. It was actually really nice, and like we're scheduling more shoots.
Of course we are.
So my shoot should be fall?
Yeah, we're probably doing it in November.
Probably November. Also, yeah, that's how I got started with the whole Death Maidens thing, and I really like it, so it's a good company.
I've known Death Maidens thanks to Shannon, and I'm a student photographer in France, and I was looking for an internship in photography, and Shannon taught me about Death Maidens, so here I am, helping things.
That's great. I've known Heather for the better part of 8 years now. Heather got a hold of me initially. My first involvement wasn't to be involved in the shoot. I was, like my poor brother, I was a victim. She called me up and she said, do you have a sword? And I was just like, hi Heather. I was just like, it's like, you know me, yeah, I got a sword. And she's like, I need it for one of the shoots coming up, for one of the other ladies that's not here. And she said, "Could you bring it by the studio? We're doing a shoot tonight, and I really need this thing." And it's a katana. And I grabbed it and I went over there, and I actually met JD that night because the green, the painting of the green, and I walked in and I was like, "Hi, green lady." And I was introduced to her then. I gave Heather the sword, nothing for months. And she gets a hold of me, it was like late November.
You sound like a terrible person.
No. Like, give me the sword, I'll paint her green, get out. No, she says, she calls me up in November and she was just like, "I need a Santa, you want to be Santa?" I was just like, "You calling me fat?" And she was like, "No, you want to be Santa?" I was like, "Yeah, sure, what are we doing?" She's like, "You're going to get stabbed by a beautiful lady." I was just like, "Wouldn't be the first time. Let's go. Let's make this happen." So I got over there and they put a pillow on my stomach and put me in the Santa suit. And I was, stabbed. I was for the Christmas card, the Death Maidens Christmas card, and I was stabbed to death with a candy cane. I had a candy cane sticking out of my chest, and blood everywhere, blood coming out of my mouth. And Heather and I have had the kind of relationship for years where she's been a part of projects that I work on with my brother, and we've helped her with things over the years. And we just call each other up every now and again and say, "Hey, do you want help doing this, or do you want a hand?" So that's kind of how we got involved. Very minimal. The rest of these ladies did a lot more work than I did, that's for sure.
For people, young women and women in general, who are interested in getting into this little family you got growing here, how does that happen? Do they get in touch with them online? Do they?
We find girls all the time on Model Mayhem. That's like a modeling site, and then we also I find a lot of people through Facebook, as most of them probably mentioned right now. I do find a lot of people on Facebook because it's a strange combination they have to look for. It's like girls that kind of have that look that we're looking for. Like we love tattoos. I mean, we do models that don't have these characteristics too, but we love tattoos. We love crazy colored hair. We love like anyone who is willing to do like anything out of the ordinary. What they consider these days an alternative model. And then the other thing that you gotta look for is someone that's not squeamish.
Yeah.
Because what you get a lot is you get girls who want to look pretty and they don't understand that they still look pretty and they just look powerful when we do what we do to them.
Right.
So, so it's definitely a subgenre of models.
Yeah.
But I find a lot of girls on there and like I said, sometimes they're first time models, sometimes they've worked a lot. So it just depends on the girl. And since we're starting up now, we're just taking girls who fit our criteria, but I think eventually it'll be a little bit more than that since we've got so many girls now. So that's good, but we gotta narrow it down a little bit more now. So if there's anyone out there who wants to be involved, they can message us and send us pictures on Facebook, and then tell us if they want to die or if they want to kill.
Yeah, deathmaidens@gmail.com. You can reach us there. Also, deathmaidens.com, we've got a contact page there. We're starting to see more and more girls just on the Facebook page saying, "Hey, how does one become a Death Maiden?" And we normally shoot them an email right back. Even at the Monster Mashup, we've had girls come up and be like, "Hey, how do I get involved in this?" So, really, any Facebook, Tumblr, Twitter, the website, our Gmail account, they get a hold of us, and we're always open to get more people involved. We are a photography kind of group, but we've kind of branched out where I think we've met, and that was Monster Mashup, where we're not just selling prints, but we're trying to get everybody out and collaboratively, take photos and have fun and make sure we try to create this element where we're an advertising element, but we're doing Nightmare on Chicago Street. We did it last year. We did the Monster Mashup. We've worked with is for Villains, and we're just trying to get our name out there, and we kind of do self-promotion where we're all kind of collaborating and just working together. And I think that's a big part of our company too. It's not just the photos. I think it's a lot of that family and attitude and being able to bring other people in and kind of show them work hands-on.
Awesome.
When we first started, Heather was all about we're gonna just bloody the shit out of everybody and just throw blood everywhere. I was like, let's try something, and I was the one commenting down, let's try something like this, So that's kind of where the photos and where I wanted to kind of test a couple different things, and we're going to do that. We've got a mermaid shoot coming up that Heather's putting together.
Not conventional.
Right, it'll always have our twist to it. We have made contacts. We're going to do a fan art Witchblade shoot, so we're excited about that. We've been always talking about doing like little shorts, videos, and stuff like that. I want to get into that. You know, I mean, we've got 3 million directions that we can go. We're just trying to figure out where to head first. So the big thing is that we're going to continue. We're going to continue doing our shoots. We're going to try a couple different things. We're going to continue down that kind of the horror genre, but we're going to also branch off a little bit and see where that goes to. So,
yes. That's awesome.
Great. Awesome.
Thank you, everyone. I really appreciate the time and the awesome answers and everything. And you guys are doing an awesome thing. It's very cool to see, you know, what you guys have come up with and all the passion and creativity that the ladies bring to you. So, rock on. Definitely.